Starliner Media. Starliner Media presents Music Night at the Majestic with your host, Michael Boswell.
All right, it's time once again for Music Night at the Majestic, and with us, friend of Music Night, Nick Piunti. Nick, good to have you back.
Good to see you. Thanks for asking, and thanks for being patient with my update on my computer.
Technology is a wonderful thing when it works.
Right.
I'll tell you, you've got the new album out, Heart Inside Your Head, and with this, you've got the Nick Piunti that we've come to know and love, but you've added some things, and you're kind of rocking out a bit on this one.
Yeah, it's funny. I kind of feel like there wasn't any change, and it's just I bring the songs down, the band plays them, we record them, but I guess some of the songs are more rocking than the last, but there's some ballads on there too. It's just kind of whatever fits this the songs. So I am a songwriter first, and then whatever the band brings to the songs. And I think maybe we probably wanted to rock, we couldn't play live for a couple of years, so when the opportunity to make a little bit of noise, we probably went in that direction.
Yeah. Tell me this, when you go into the studio and you hear a song, where do you get the ideas or influences to create the sound that new track has?
Well, I think a lot just kind of relies on the interplay with the band. I mean, when we were demoing the songs, we didn't really do any real demos. We just would have a iPhone in the room and record, and we did record in a pretty ambient room, our keyboard player's house, and so everything sounded big and washy and kind of rocking. So then when we went to the studio, Big Sky Recording, Jeff Michaels recorded, this will be the 6th album he's recorded since 2013's release, not Heart Inside, a different Head album, 13 in My Head. I didn't realize that until recently. It's like I'm stuck on the Head. Do a cover of the Monkees album Head one day. But anyway, I think we wound up playing one room to get that interplay, and we used baffles enough to kind of keep, but there was some bleed through in the drum mics, which is fine. I mean, I don't like the perfectly sterile environment anyway, because once everything's going, you don't hear it, but it does add a little something. Again, when the Beatles used to record, they'd have their monitors just blasting back at them that came in through the microphones they had too, so it was part of the sound. So we start with the basic tracks, and then some of the overdubs are the parts are conceived in the studio, and usually it's Jeff and I in those moments that would kind of work really good together. I'll be playing my parts in the control room, and we just kind of go back and forth. What do you think about this? Yeah, and change the tone. It's nice that we think kind of the same things, come up with the same thoughts at the same times.
Oh, that's good. When you've got that chemistry to where you think alike on most things, but different enough to bring some different flavors in, always a plus.
Yeah, you like to do something a little bit different. I kind of feel like maybe the next record really stretch out, do some things that I haven't conceived of, but it's not that we're constrained by anything, but since we are a band that plays live too, I want to make sure what we can do, what we do in the studio, we can pull off live. And we added another guitar player, but almost towards the end of the recording, Joe Daxowitz. So he played, I think, 4 or 5 of the tracks. And also brought my buddy Ryan Allen in to do some harmony vocals towards the end, and he added some guitar bits too. So I like everybody bringing what they have to the to the table. I don't have anything in mind what I really want them to play. It's just but I know it when I hear it.
Yeah, well, that's one of those things to where it's kind of like buying a house. You see a bunch of different houses, but when you see the one that is right, you just know it.
Yeah, exactly. Like we moved last September. We had the same house for 23 years, and 22, I think. But it was getting to the point, it's like, well, we're not empty nesters yet, but we're getting close. We still have an 18-year-old that lives with us. So we had a lot of rooms that we weren't using anymore. And so we moved to a condo, which is about, well, pretty close to the same size, much fewer rooms, but much bigger rooms. So it's pretty cool. And plus I'm right in the golf course, which, that's my other thing I'm nuts about when I'm not playing guitar. It's my wife said years ago, you play golf, you hold a golf club, you come home and you hold your guitar, when are you going to hold me? So I get my priorities straight.
Well, convenience is a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, getting to the album, the opening track, My Mind Plays Tricks on Me. When I first listened to it, Nick, my first thought was, man, a double bill with You and the Complicated Men in Cheap Trick, would be perfect.
That would be good. We got to talk to Rick and Robin, see if they can make that happen. It's not like they don't play enough. They play all the time, but yeah, they're one of, they're amazing. And it is, I mean, they're even better than I think most people realize. I mean, some of the songs, the songwriting was just amazing. And you could hear, I think Rick was heavily influenced by The Move. You could hear that, but and Robin still is just amazing singer. And yeah, they bridge the gap to the, hey, let's rock crowd, and then let the people that really could tell the difference in really clever songwriting. And pretty amazing band.
Well, anytime that you can combine melodies and hooks in riffs, that's a winning combination.
Yeah, I mean, like, what else is there? I'm surprised there's not more people trying to do that. But I think the thing is, you want to do it, but make it your own, not be too derivative. A lot of the power pop bands seem to maybe latch on too tight to some certain, sounds, and it's nice, but are you a tribute band or are you your own band? So, we try to make it our own thing, but certainly there's influences, and sometimes kind of surprising influences that people say about, our music. It's like, I wasn't thinking about that, but yeah, okay, I get it. Some are a little, you need to expand your horizons if you think I sound like that, but that's okay too.
What is the most surprising band or artist that people have said that sounds like they had an influence on you?
Well, gosh. Well, I get the Bryan Adams thing because the voice, maybe the gravelly voice, and that's a compliment. He's a great singer. Um, Sometimes they nail it, like with Mike Viola, because it's like I didn't really learn much about Mike Viola until later in his career, probably when the Lurch album came out. But it's like, oh yeah, I can see that comparison. But when someone says, what do they say? Gosh, someone in a recent interview they said 38 Special, and it's like, yeah, no, not really. But they were talking about the muted guitar, so that's okay. But yeah, Hold On Loosely, when that came out, yeah, it was a great pop song. But yeah, that's not really one of my influences. But like I said, that's okay.
That'd be more of a Jim Peterick,
Yeah,
pop songwriting influence than the
right.
band, I would think.
Yeah. But then I'll get to Rod Stewart, and it's like, that's okay as long as it's before Do You Think I'm Sexy? The Story, someone said once, it's like, oh, that's cool. But that's a gravelly voice thing, But
Mhm.
I didn't think I had a gravelly voice, but maybe it gets gravelier as I get older. But yeah, I don't hear Tom Petty enough, because Tom Petty is probably one of my biggest influences, but so is Paul Westerberg, and and Springsteen. Nobody ever mentions Springsteen, but I was a huge, am still, big Bruce fan. So, but that's something people don't get too often. I kind of hear it in some of this, especially in the new album. There's a couple songs. It's like, yeah, that sounds like a Bruce melody there, but maybe they'll get it.
Well, Hope's Up with the keyboard on the
Yeah,
beginning.
that's a very E Street Band sound to me, but we'll see if anyone else hears that besides you.
People be looking at this and going, "Where does he get it? I don't understand. I don't hear."
Yeah, you had some comment on that. It's like, oh, we don't need another positive COVID's over song. But I actually wrote that song. It was one of the first songs to the record. It was after the first COVID, thing. And then summertime was coming and looked like maybe it was over. And it's like, yeah, it was kind of a positive thing. It was about that. I got my hopes up and things are getting better. But obviously we were wrong. It's still kind of raging. But luckily it seems like most people are getting over it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the second track on the album, uh, "Heart Inside Your Head," title track, was named "Coolest Song in the World" on Little Steven's Underground Garage, which is, something that you're familiar with since you've had a number of songs that have been
Yeah.
the coolest song in the world.
Yeah, that's always an honor because Stevens, he has to like it. There's not a committee. It's just him. He chooses, every coolest song, and you never know what's going to strike his fancy. But yeah, luckily that one did. And we were making the album. I thought maybe we'd get the album out quicker, but it was probably as quick as we could finish the album. But we sent him "Heart Inside Your Head," and we also sent him "One of the Boys," thinking, hey, maybe he'll pick one of these to as the as a coolest song. And not sure if it was because the album wasn't out yet. And it's like, maybe it's just premature. It was a shot in the dark. But he did, and he ended up playing "Heart Inside Your Head" a lot because it was the coolest song. But also, "One of the Boys" got a lot of spins too, which was really cool.
Yeah, always a plus. Now, what is the origin of that song?
"One of the Boys" is about my daughter. I kind of write these dad songs, and I know I say it every interview, but I'm still a dad and I still have daughters, so they need some songs, whether they want to hide from them or not. But she had a new boy, man, that she was interested in, and at first I thought it was a little bit more one-sided, that she was more interested in he was, and I was kind of telling her, hey, there's a lot of fish in the sea. If he's not treating you right, but turns out 2 years later, they're still together. And I think he must have listened to the song because he's, they're doing really well. And so we'll have fun talking about it. This is his song. So that was my dad's song. I was raised by my mom and dad got divorced when I was a little kid. So, and then I ended up having 3 daughters. So women, just kind of empowering kind of song. I guess not that women need an empowering song from me, but it's just kind of like, women, you deserve better kind of thing. And she got better. I mean, she got what she deserved, I'd say, which is better.
A happy ending.
Yeah.
Now, "Slave to It," that's got a real groove going.
Yeah, that's it's funny. Of all the songs I write, usually they all come in one little kind of rush or something. That song, I had the riff, which is, reminiscent of Pretender's song. Of course, now I'm having one of these moments. Like, what song is it? Oh, "Don't Get Me Wrong," but it's a little slower than "Don't Get Me Wrong," but it's got that kind of dun, 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 dun. And I had the opening line. That's always, if I get an opening line, like I'm just a slave to it, and what are you a slave to? It was kind of, I'm a slave to music that I just can't give it up. And so, but I wasn't really sure about the arrangement that we had. And the chorus came a little bit later. Well, it's not really a chorus, more the B part of the song. And then I had a little bit more, I think, space in between the verse and the chorus. And then we went to record it. Jeff said, the producer said, why don't you just go right to here? And so I think we tracked the band, but then we cut that part out and we went right into the chorus. And it's like, yeah, that works a lot better. So there was some arrangement done on that song. And then, I wanted to keep it pretty simple with the instruments. But then Joe came up with some cool reverb delay parts. And then at the end, Ryan came in with a noisy stuff using his delay pedal. And he also sang some harmonies on that song. So yeah, that song was probably a little bit more work from the beginning, but I think it worked out pretty cool.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the guitar players. There's some really cool tones on the tracks.
Yeah, I kind of spend like some money on really good guitars and good amps, and it's funny. You'll read guitars. It's like, oh, my Squire is better than any Fender custom shop. It's like, well, maybe you never really played a Fender custom shop to say that. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. But there's a difference. And Jeff is a guitar player, and he's got some cool amps too. He's got a Matchless. He's got an old Fender Bassman. He's got a Marshall from like 1978 little combo amp that actually was the same amp that I bought myself when I graduated high school. So it's kind of cool. And then, so I think when the other guys came to the studio, they did their own, used some of Jeff's amps, except Ryan actually did his parts at home. But Ryan knows how to get good tone too. I think he's got a Dr. Z amp he used for those parts. But yeah, it's good to use good amps, and if you want it to sound good, I mean, not that you can't have inexpensive stuff and to get a great tone, but that's how I do it.
Tell me this, what's your go-to guitar?
It's kind of whatever guitar I'm holding that day. Because like my wife said, you in love with that one last month. How come? It's like, well, it's like everything in my life's kind of constant. So if I can switch up, for years it was a Tele, and then I really got into P90s, and then I had a couple Novo guitars. One was like a Tele, one had humbucker. I'm usually more of a single coil guy. I've had a Rickenbackers. I've had, I've had a lot of guitars, but for Heart Inside Your Head, I used the Gibson SG Special for a lot of it, the P90 tone. But then I also used a Strat for some things. Couple humbucker parts, but not too much. But I recently actually got a Paul Reed Smith. I traded a Gretchen for it. I love Gretches, but this one Gretsch just wasn't staying in tune, and it was pretty heavy. It was like over 9 pounds, and so I think it's up on the wall there. I like it because it's not a typical Paul Reed Smith. It's black. It's and it's got like this red binding on the side. I don't know if you can see that, but so my wife calls it Batman. I think it does look like Batman, but it's got individual coil tabs, so it can sound really sweet, clean, like a Strat almost. So it's a great live guitar. I haven't played. I just had rehearsal, but yeah, it's pretty awesome. I got a good deal on it too. Someone special ordered it, and then decided, I don't know, they didn't buy it, but they should have. It's really good. And it's SG Special, which is great. And this is a really nice guitar too. It's a Gibson SG Special, but it's black. Most people kind of want the TV yellow or the sunburst, but this guitar is really sweet. It's less than 7 pounds, really light. And there's a Tele down on the ground. Where are you? There she is.
Yeah.
My wife said that doesn't match the bedroom. That one's got to go, but no, that's pretty cool.
Tell me this, Nick, have you ever picked up a guitar and then played with it and then realized, you know what, this just doesn't work for me?
Oh yeah. Too many times actually. And sometimes you don't know until you take it home or play a gig with it. That's when I knew that the Gretsch, I played a gig with it. It's like, just didn't feel right. And I've had some Gretches that I've liked, but this one was just a little too heavy, I think. The Gibsons are great, and they're both super light. And Tellies are great. Except the binding in this Tele, I don't know. I love looking at a binding, but they're probably better to play without the binding on them. But yeah, I change my ever-changing mood, so who knows? Like I'll bring a guitar down to rehearsal, and the guys, Jeff, bass player, say, "Can I take a picture of it? Because I might not see that one again."
Well, Dave, as we're talking about guitars, the track "Trying Too Hard," that's another one that rocks out pretty good.
Yeah, I like that one. It's got more of a jangly thing going on, and yeah, I used a Strat, which I really liked it, but I only owned it for a couple weeks for the kind of the good guitar line in the course. I played that, but I think the The main guitar was the SG Special. So I wanted to jangle, but not too typically jangly sound. But you can get that sound out of a P92. And yeah, that was one of my favorites. And then Ryan came in at the end and did some really cool harmonies. It's almost Teenage Fan Clubby, which was pretty cool. And he actually did those parts at home and sent them over. And he's been kind of my go-to guy when I'm looking for something frosting on the cake. It's like, okay, I know Ryan's going to come up with something like that. He's got his own band called Extra Arms, and also they're power poppy, but he hates that term. So but he loves power pop, but he's more than that. It's a little harder. They're a little harder edge than what we do. They're a lot louder than us, but you got to talk to him about that because he's a young kid. He's got to save those ears. But no, he's a great writer. He's really one of my favorite writers in Detroit, and we've written some songs in the past, but didn't see him much during COVID. But it was great that he could, record some stuff and send it our way. And he has an album coming out too, Extra Arms. It's coming out in June 9th or June 10th. I think that album's coming out, and it's really good. Yeah, you should check him out. It's called Extra Arms.
All right. Tell me this. What else have you been listening to?
I just, I kind of listen, the band that I really liked in the last year, and people either really dig it like me or they don't get it. And it's Wet Leg. I remember I was in my car and I was listening to a station on XM. I think it was 35 or something. And they said that this song sounds like something on like a German dance club or something. And then they played Chaise Long. I'm like, oh my God, what is this song? I mean, and then I saw the video. I was even a little bit more confused. It could look like a couple Amish women rocking out. But I think those two girls are just, they're just so fun. I mean, they're probably the funnest band I've seen, and I follow them, and hopefully I'll see them live. I think they're coming to Detroit this summer. But I think they're fantastic. It's funny, her singer's earlier career, she was more of a folky piano player and sang really, really high register, and you wouldn't know it's even the same singer. But yeah, I love those girls. I heard the new Death Cab for Cutie song yesterday, and I thought, excuse me, allergies, not COVID. You cough, you take a COVID test. Like, no, okay, you still get allergies. Unless I'm talking too much. But anyway, a new Death Cab for Cutie song. I just thought the production was cool. It was just really kind of industrial and noisy, but it still has melodies. But yeah, I just kind of like to listen to a little bit of everything. I listen to Underground Garage a lot, not just because I want to listen to my music, but I love listening to Michael DeBar in the morning on the way to work. I mean, talk about the most positive guy on radio. It's just pretty amazing, and it always kind of gets me in a good mood. But I like to listen to new music too, not just older music. So even though I'm in that age where a lot of people my age, they don't listen to much music past their college days. It's just drives me crazy. It's like there's so much music, and that music you would like if you give it a chance, but because it doesn't remind them of high school, or they don't listen to it. There's so much music out there. You just have to dig a little bit.
Well, see, that's the difference, or the key, I should say, because we have this, I have this conversation frequently. We talk about it on the show, often as well, that people will tell me, oh, there's just nothing good out there anymore. I was like, no, there is. The difference is you used to have easy access to it because it would be played on the radio, but there's a lot of stuff, that is the contemporary version, if you will, of what you liked in the early 80s.
Oh, for sure.
But now you've got to put forth the effort to find it. Once you do, there's tons of stuff that you would love, but now it requires effort on your part to find it. So
yeah, even the bands that people love, Cheap Trick, for example, you'll never hear Cheap Trick on commercial radio anymore. You'll hear it in Underground Garage. Bruce Springsteen, you won't hear that in commercial radio. You might hear it. You'll hear it on his station. You'll hear it on the Spectrum maybe, but why can't Bruce get airplay anymore? I mean, the last record was great. I mean, why wasn't that on FM rock radio. I don't think it was, but so yeah, it's I don't know, it doesn't make sense. Maybe they've aged out. Maybe, Bruce being, 70, he can't be on the radio anymore, which is kind of ridiculous. But especially when their audience is that age still. I mean, I think people would probably like to hear it, but I don't really understand it. It has to do with record companies kind of deciding what they want on the radio, I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, that and, in my experience, having worked in radio for many years, yeah, you frequently find uh, management and consultants that, yeah, don't, that their perception is, and then what their perception is what actually gets put on the air. So
Yeah.
I was just talking to a radio station. It's a country format in a major market,
Mhm.
and they won't play anything before 1990,
Really?
which means that they with their that criteria, they can't even play Garth Brooks' first album.
Yeah, and they won't play Steve Earle, right?
Oh, well, no.
I mean, we talk about country music. Will they play Dwight Yoakam even? That's to me, that's country music. Well, Steve
Mhm.
Earle is, as much rock as country, but would they play Buck Owens? Never.
Oh, exactly.
It's yeah, it's too bad because the bro country, as I call it, the lyrics are kind of embarrassing. I think. I mean, they're clever, but they can be embarrassing. But they can be clever too. What's the one song about going to a fancy night at Applebee's, and it's kind of funny. My wife does happen to listen to some of that music, and I said, "All right, that's pretty funny. That's clever, but why not, you know, play the real stuff too?
Well, in my opinion, a lot of the contemporary stuff, uh, contemporary country, sounds like 90s dance pop,
Right,
where they change the lyrics to where it mentions trucks and dirt roads and what have you.
right,
Uh, Maybe throw, a fiddle in so that it becomes, quote, country. But if you pull the vocal out, it sounds like, 25, 30-year-old, say, top 40 stuff.
right. It sounds like 38 Special, or or Brian Adams. Some of the bands, if you took the vocals out and the twang, and got to Painted on Jeans. You got to talk about those. Um, so yeah, it's just I don't know. I think these people, the fans of that stuff, would like more stuff if they thought. I don't know. I was writing a song about that actually, about um, top 40 radio. When I like the first line is, "Yeah, I curse the radio, same old songs we already know," and not like you don't want to hear some of those songs from your youth, but is that all you hear? Is that all the FM rock wants to play? Is how many times do you have to hear old time rock and roll by Bob Seger? I mean, once is too many. I mean, Bob Seger makes some great records. That wasn't one of them, I hate to say, but he didn't write it, so I'll give him a pass on that one. But it's hokey. There's I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, well, talk about restricted playlists. I remember at one time, the oldies station, this is again going back, 25 years or so, their playlist was restricted to about 400 songs.
Hmm.
So now you are covering multiple decades of music, and that gives you what, 10 songs per year basically,
Wow. Yeah, you think,
and maybe 20. But
yeah,
say when you look at all the music that is viable, especially when you are not a single genre format like an oldie station, where
right.
you can pull top 40, you can pull R&B, you can pull soul, you can pull country, into your playlist, and that's all you're going to focus on. you know
Yeah, that's crazy. That's I don't know if it's crazy or if it's lazy or it's just easy. Um, I don't know. I think you don't give listeners enough credit. It's like you've dumbed the format down, so much that I don't know. I don't listen to too much commercial radio anymore. I'd like to dig a little bit deeper.
Yeah, well, when you can, set your watch because you're hearing Sugar Pie Honey Bunch again, and you know it's 4 o'clock, kind
Yeah,
of tells you that you need to freshen up that playlist a bit.
and my daughter, my youngest daughter, she's 18 now, but she's on the spectrum, autism spectrum. So she would pretty much like a local station called 96.3. She called it Big Kid Music. But she like all the hits, and I'd say, "Oh, Olivia, this song's terrible." No, it's a good song, Dad. But now if it could be at one of my stations, she hears a song, but it reminds her of a movie that she saw. "Oh, I love this song, Dad." I said, "You know the song? Yeah, that was in whatever. That was in, So it's kind of neat. She's liking music I like because she relates it to a movie that she likes.
Yeah, well, I had the same experience just last night, actually, when my son tells me, "Hey, pull up this video for Lonely Boy." It's for this
Oh yeah,
band, the Black Keys. And he's heard it in a movie. He liked it. And I go, "Yeah, I've got the album right here." So,
that's a good one.
but it's a nice feeling though, when, when you're a kid, hear something that, that you like and they bring it to you, on, uh, or, completely on their own.
Yeah, but she likes Tom Petty which is good because I'd have to probably give her up for adoption if she didn't. But um, she does like Tom Petty, and for a while I'd quiz her, "Who is this?" And she'd either guess the Beatles or Tom Petty, just because she kind of knew, wasn't
Uh-huh.
that she thought of. Um, but yeah, I'm like, just going back to it, there's a lot of great music. It's too bad the music that I love doesn't necessarily sell, but it sells enough. I mean, I know about it. I mean, I love Wilco, I love, and they sell records. I love Spoon, but Spoon's never really had a hit record.
Right.
Reading an interview, he said, "Yeah, it'd be nice to have a real hit single one day, but I think they're doing just fine."
Yeah, they've got a following.
Yeah, great
I'll
voice.
tell you, go ahead, Nick.
No, I just love his voice.
Yeah. I was gonna say, we've talked about how the tracks that rock out. Yeah, you've also got have the album balanced with some mid tempo,
Mm,
and got the ballad with Nothing New.
yeah.
So tell us
Now
about
that could be now that could be on one of those country stations if we get someone about 40 years younger to sing it. I mean, to me, it's be put a little pedal steel on it. Actually, I think it's a song that Joe played. It almost sounds like pedal steel. I think that might be the song. Um, yeah, that's a song, kind of one of those songs. Thinking like it's not really about me or my wife, but maybe one of those days where I'm feeling like she could do way better than me. It's like one of those songs. I always kind of tell her that I should stop because she might start listening to me one day. But that's one of those songs. Yeah, yeah,
Nick, I've been thinking about it, and you were right. So
yeah. Yeah, but I like that song. That turned out really good. And first, I played the rhythm on electric in the studio. I just couldn't get the right sound. So Jeff has this old Gibson from the '40s acoustic guitar, which sounded really good at it. It's like, okay, yeah, that's what the song needs.
yeah, now how about Keys to Your Heart?
Yeah, that was funny. It's that's a typical Nick song. I write a lot of songs that kind of sound that way in the key of D, and then you go to the E minor and A. And it's like, first I thought, is this too typical of a Nick? It's like, that's okay. I mean, every album should have one of those songs on it. And I liked it, but it's funny. I was sending the tracks to Marty, and he said, "That song's just kind of sitting there, so really not doing anything for me." I go, "What are you talking about? That's like a really good song." But I don't know what we did at the end. Maybe I just turned up the background harmonies. A friend of ours, Kristen, did the background vocal, which I thought was really neat. She had some really nice parts in there. First, it sounded kind of like the Bangles, but then we maybe didn't use all of our parts in there. But if I record that song again, maybe I'd put a 12 string on it or something. But I like that song, and I like the line. That kind of sets up the line. Keys to Your Heart. Like I know I left them somewhere. Like you lose your house keys, and I thought that was kind of cute. My daughter Megan liked that. Who Megan also did the artwork for the album, which is pretty cool. Talked about
I
that.
was just gonna say.
Yeah, Yeah, she did a really nice job. Can't remember exactly how we actually were having a hard time deciding for a title for the album, and then the producer said, "Well, you got that artwork for the single. You already got the title, or the artwork. Use that." Oh yeah, we decided to use the artwork first. I said, "Well, then I guess we should call the album Heart Inside Your Head," even though I would probably prefer not to have an album title as one of the songs because you think that's the only song that matters on the record. But we just changed the color for the album. And then my daughter came up with the idea for the different icons. Each song can have its own icon and planet. In my brain, it's that's not really me in the cover, but kind of caricature. But looking at my hair now, I should probably put more gray hair on that thing.
I'll tell you what, the album closes with Gloves Come Off.
Yeah, that was another kind of a dark side of relationship thing, but also, trying to work through it. I had some demons I was working through that winter of 2021. It was it was tough. We have a restaurant called Sibley Gardens, and it was we were forced to close our operations for several months, and then we thought we were in the clear, and then at the end of 2020 we had to close again, and it was weighing on me. It was like, are we going to have a viable business anymore? And that song came from that. The first track, My Mind Plays Tricks on Me. One day I thought I was kind of losing my mind a little bit. So that's where that came from. There's some dark thoughts, but you want to have some hooks with the dark thoughts. And I always like that, to not have it too cheery. Like I said, some of the power pop music's a little bit too sunshiny, and there's really no underlying darkness that I kind of like to go with hopefulness of the music.
Yeah.
But I made it through, survived, thanks to my wife and the band. And I think there was a time when I was recording a record, I said, I don't know if we have a good record here or not. And Jeff, bass player, said, what are you talking about? This is like the best record yet. I go, really? I just don't know. And so that's probably typical. Everybody, if you think everything you've done is the best ever, then you're probably not being honest. But I always have second thoughts. And, my wife says I'm wishy-washy. And like when I had to let someone go at the restaurant, instead of me firing them, she said, I told the person, hey, I'm just going to take you off the schedule. She said, why'd you say that for? I said, I didn't want to hurt her feelings, but she really had to go. So trying to be more direct, and she's right, but I'm a sensitive guy. What can I say?
Well, artists are.
Yeah.
Well, tell me this, Nick, is there anything else you want to make sure that we get in here?
Thanks. We're just waiting for the record release a week from Friday. We're doing a release show on the 27th in Ferndale, but if there's any Michigan listeners, we are actually going to finally come to Chicago in September. September 10th, I believe, is the show. And we're thinking of doing something in Madison the day before, but if there's any Madison listeners out there, let us know. 'Cause my daughter lives in Madison. It'd be pretty cool to play in her new hometown. She said, I'll get everyone from work to come. I said, that would be cool. So it's like 7-hour drive to Madison from us in Detroit. And, but that'd be fun. It'd be fun to kind of get out of town and play some shows.
Absolutely. There's nothing like live music.
Yeah. There's a rush, there's a buzz you get from it that's like nothing else. And making records is great. Obviously, it's I spend most of my time doing writing and recording, so that the live performances are just like fleeting moments. But we all have jobs and careers, so we get a lot of requests. Hey, can you come here? Can you come to Spain? Can you come to LA? It's like, yeah, in reality, we probably won't ever be able to do that. But this Cheap Trick wants to take us on tour, so
there you go.
Shut.
The door's been opened.
Right.
They know you're interested.
Thanks for reaching out, and I appreciate it.
All right. Sounds good, Nick. We'll tell you what, I want to thank everybody for watching. Nick, thanks for taking the time out to join us. Everybody, have a good night.
Thank you.
This has been Music Night at the Majestic with Michael Boswell. If you enjoyed this edition of Music Night at the Majestic, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and at musicnight.net. Music Night at the Majestic is a copyright production of Starliner Media. Any use of the accounts and descriptions of this program, its audio or visual content, without the express written consent of Starliner Media is prohibited. Thank you for joining us this evening. We'll see you next time for Music Night at the Majestic. This is your announcer speaking. Starliner Media.